The Michigan Wolverines stole the 2025 recruiting class. Note, they didn't finish number 1 overall, but many experts would agree that their run at the end of the cycle was one of the most impressive of all time. So how did they pull it off? Let's relive some of Michigan's insane moves in recruiting that ultimately got them the best player in America. But first, Wolverines fans, hit that subscribe button. We're so close. Help us get to 100,000 subscribers. All right, let's take it back to July. The Michigan Wolverines sat with just 2 players committed in the top 200 overall. The team was ranked 17th in recruiting. At that point in time, Bryce Underwood was firmly committed to the LSU Tigers and hadn't wavered on his pledge to Baton Rouge. But it wasn't just a lack of big-name recruits that made this time in Wolverines recruiting so drastically different. It was the vibe around their strategy and guys they weren't willing to play the game. What game am I referring to? Well, in 2025, it's not a secret that money is a major factor in college football recruiting, and those that use it well have seen the best returns in top-rated commitments. Easy math, right? During the summer of 2021, we hopped in the car and drove to the Wild West. When we got there, instead of seeing cowboys and saloons, we ran into big money donors and early big name players in this new venture, like the Miami Hurricanes and, yes, Michigan's arch rival, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Where was Michigan in all of this? Well, let me get technical with the term NIL collective. These groups are defined as independent organizations, typically formed by alumni and supporters, that pools funds to create NIL opportunities for student athletes at a specific school, allowing them to monetize their name, image, and likeness, blah, blah, blah. Each collective is unique and got on this NIL wave at different points in time. For Michigan, the collective known as Champion Circle didn't get their wheels off the ground until June of 2022, several months after Ohio State's The Foundation Collective began. But over time, Wolverines donors and fans made their way into the conversation, eventually ranked as the number 13 collective by On3's Pete Nakos in the summer of 2024. If you're a Michigan fan, though, you know that things took a sharp turn when it comes to how the program did NIL after the 2024 season began. Michigan started the year 5-5 with losses that weren't typical for the Wolverines, especially coming off of a national championship season. Following the team's loss to Indiana, just the second to the Hoosiers since 1988, the fan base began to rumble a bit, and with a bye week on the horizon, the big name players in the NIL world began to conversate.
I got a call from the Michigan football team, right? And they said, hey, there's this donor who wants to talk to you. I said, I'm doing this myself. I don't need to talk to anybody. They said, please. This woman's a big fan of Barstool, big fan of you. She'd love to talk to you. Her name is Jolyn. Like, all right, yeah, listen, I'm working on quarterback. I'm studying the field. What do we got to do? They said, oh, her husband, by the way, is a guy by the name of Larry Ellison. You ever heard of him? I said, Larry Ellison? The number 2 richest guy on the planet? Yeah, I'll take that phone call. That night, we're on a Zoom. Me, Jolyn, Larry Ellison. And we're talking, and I'm like, Larry, where'd you go to school? Oh, Illinois. Well, all right. Jolyn, what about you? Michigan. Interesting. When'd you go to school? I believe she said the guy who didn't wear headsets.
Brady Hoke.
That era. Brady Hoke era. And she said, I never want to live that era again. We're the national champs. I have 2 kids. I can't stomach waking up on a Saturday knowing that we're not the best team on the field. I said, I'm with you. What do we have to do? What do we have to do? I know what we'll do. Let's set up a call tomorrow night with Bryce Underwood and his parents.
The top recruit in the class of 2025, Bryce Underwood, the quarterback from Belleville, Michigan, has flipped from LSU to Michigan.
Bryce Underwood is a Michigan Wolverine, and we're going to talk about it today with On3 Steve Wiltfong.
Obviously, NIL, a major factor for Bryce Underwood at the end of his recruitment and flipping to Michigan, but he still wanted to be comfortable with the football component, getting around the program, getting around that culture, seeing what it would look like for him. He asked if they would have number 19 available. He talked about what would the dorms look like for him at Michigan. So he checked all the boxes. It all came up maize and blue Michigan. And Josh, I wonder if there will eventually be another Wolverine special commemorative edition, hardcover national champ book for down the road from On3's Michigan affiliate, with them landing Bryce Underwood. That's certainly the plan, getting the number one recruit in the country in the fold.
One thing Michigan fans didn't have to wonder about much longer was how they would continue to rise in the On3 recruiting rankings. Within 2 weeks, the Wolverines landed 3 more top 250 players in the class, starting with Jordan Young, the number 13 safety in the country, Nathaniel Owusu-Boateng, the number 25 linebacker, and Nate Marshall, the number 40 overall player in the nation. But they weren't done yet. Leading up to the first National Signing Day on Wednesday, December 4th, rumors swirled that Michigan was on the verge on flipping top 10 offensive tackle Ty Haywood from Alabama. After he didn't sign with the Crimson Tide on the early signing day, December 4th, it seemed imminent that the Wolverines would be able to pull off the massive commitment of the number 48 overall player. They did just that, signing him on the second signing day in February, putting the icing on the cake of an unreal run to the number 6 overall class in America. It was Michigan's highest finish in the rankings since 2017, and the most exciting run maybe ever for Wolverines fans. All in all, Sharon Moore got his star offensive lineman, great secondary depth, and of course, number 1 quarterback and number 1 overall player in the country, Bryce Underwood. Let us know in the comments, how will this class turn out? And who is your favorite recruit for the Michigan Wolverines?